I wanted to share some information on the 2022 Ford Maverick that I purchased. I bought this vehicle from an out-of-state dealership. That was something I've never done before, never even considered. Maybe it's something that would be new to you also. I'll let you know how that went, if I'd recommend this dealership. I also wanted to share some, I'll call them tips and tidbits on the Maverick. I only have 200 miles on this truck, so it'd be hard to do a complete review right now. I'll do that probably in about a month or so. But just some things I noticed that might be beneficial to you. A couple glitches I'm having, I'll share those with you. I do plan to talk to the dealership about these and see if there's something that can be done and see if they persist. I'll get this vehicle outside and we'll get going with that. This Maverick has a 2-liter EcoBoost engine with front-wheel drive. It's in carbonized gray in the XLT package. I do not have the luxury package on this. The only options I've added are the Copilot 360, full-size spare tire, and the 2-inch trailer receiver. When I decided to buy this Maverick, I checked with some of the local dealerships and things just didn't work out going locally. One dealership never got back to me after I called them twice. Another dealership wanted a $1,000 deposit, non-refundable by the way, and that was not going to work. I remembered seeing some videos on YouTube that were put out by Tim Bartz at Long MacArthur Ford. He had discussed how you could order the vehicle through them and they would deliver at no charge when you did finance it with them. So I decided to call Long MacArthur Ford down in Salina, Kansas, and I spoke with Mike Letts, and we got the vehicle ordered. Pretty simple process. They sent me the paperwork to sign, and we got that order placed. And the whole process was really quite smooth and seamless. Sent me some documents by email to sign. I returned. Very smooth process. The vehicle came in, got a call from Mike, and we got delivery set up. They flatbedded the truck to me. And just for the record, Long MacArthur did not put that sticker there. They had it on the tailgate. I meant to tell Mike not to brand the vehicle, and of course, without telling them that, they're going to put their sticker on it. I peeled that sticker off the tailgate and I stuck it there just so you could see the dealership label there. But the whole process went very well. I was happy with that. I'd do it again. If you're having trouble with your dealership and they're not responding to your needs, or they're charging you too much, or they're not treating you right, call Mike down at Long MacArthur, see what he can do for you, and get the information from him about the particulars about the Maverick right now. Let's get on to some of the things I really like about the Maverick and a couple minor things I've noticed. So let's get going with that. One of the reasons I ordered this Maverick was the styling and size of it. It's what I was looking for. I looked at some Tacomas and a Ridgeline. They were too expensive. I didn't care for them that much. And I wanted something smaller that would haul 4 people. And I saw the Maverick and I knew that's what I wanted. And that's what I ended up getting. I really like this carbonized gray. The wheels match nicely with it. I've added the Truxedo X15 Pro tonneau cover. It's a very low profile tonneau cover. The 15 refers to the angle of the side rail. That angle is at 15 degrees versus 45, which means it's going to have a lower profile. I really like that. It has a canvas top on it, so it has that matte black finish. And this is overall styling, and the fact that this looked like a truck. And that's what I liked. On the XLT and above, on the trim levels, you will get the keypad. Some features on this: you push 7890 together to lock all the doors. You put in your code. It unlocks the driver's door, and if you push 3-4 within 5 seconds, it will unlock all the doors and the tailgate. That's just a nice feature. And if you noticed, I walked right by the box of the truck without putting the tailgate down and showing you the features in there. I think we've all seen the features in that flex bed probably 1,000 times if we watch many YouTube videos, and I'll just skip past that. I'm sure you're familiar with it. But let's go inside now. There are a lot of things I like in here. A few things that some people have complained about a bit, or at least criticized. And one of them is the rotary gear selector. And it does take some getting used to. But one of the features I like about that is when you have it in drive, and the selector does not have a hard connect to the position you're in here. You can keep turning that past drive, or when you get back to park, you can keep turning that. There's no hard connect there. So I'm in drive right now. My foot's on the brake, and this can happen. It's happened to me before. You're sitting like this, foot on the brake, in drive, and you get sidetracked doing something, and you go to step out of your vehicle, and it's still in drive. And what happens is, if you open the driver's door, it goes back to park automatically. Now that's a feature that a lot of the newer cars have, but having that rotary dial allows that to happen. One feature I like on the radio is you go into settings, go up to sound, you'll get that speed compensation on the volume. And you see I have that set to high. What that does, it will increase your radio volume as your speed increases and you get more outside noise. I like that feature a lot. It comes in handy. I was always, before, turning the radio up when you're up to speed and then turning it down when you were at a stop sign or stop light. This is great. I like that. Good feature. I've been curious about how far the seats recline. I've never seen a video on that. And the fact is, they recline quite a ways. I have that passenger seat reclined, and I know it's hard to tell this close, but it's reclined quite a ways. But one problem I see on both seats here in the front, when they recline, that sharp angle on the headrest, it kinks your neck quite badly when you recline. So if you have a passenger who's trying to rest over there, they'll probably need a pillow behind their neck. Otherwise, you're going to end up with one heck of a kink in their neck. Now, I have noticed some glitches. This auto hold doesn't work all the time in reverse. It works about half the time in reverse when I'm backing out of the garage in the morning. So I don't know what the glitch is there. Also, my Ford Co-Pilot 360, since we're talking about glitches, it doesn't always work in detecting objects in my blind spot or in the cross traffic alert. That's kind of a big deal when you have a safety feature in a vehicle that's not reliable. So that's something I don't think it's anything I'm doing. I think there's a glitch in the system. Leave a note if you've had trouble with yours also doing that. One thing I have noticed, it's got a fairly high step over down here. It's 19.5 inches step over. And that's fairly high. My 2006 F-150 full-size truck in two-wheel drive, so it's not terribly high, but it has a 20-inch step over, only a half inch higher than this. And that won't be a problem for most people, but if you have any trouble with mobility, it's quite a high step over. Once you're in the back though, and I'm 5'9", 170, once you're in the back, you have a lot of space between the seats. And I can put my feet all the way out and not have any trouble at all. Very comfortable back here, very roomy. Things I've noticed also, you've got a pouch here on the passenger side, out on the driver's side. You have 3 grab handles, both passenger front and back, and passenger on the rear, but there's nothing up there for the driver. I find that kind of interesting. Very nice interior in the back. I'm really happy with that. Just a lot of room back here. I wanted to share my one dislike I had with this vehicle, and the dislike has kind of diminished a bit over the last couple weeks. But it all started when I drove this vehicle for the first time. It rode like a lumber wagon. I mean, it was terrible, and that's an understatement. It was the worst riding vehicle I've ever been in, and I was extremely disappointed. That's my first drive in the Maverick, and you're just bouncing all over the place. You're hitting the road joints, and it sounds like a sledgehammer hitting a block of wood. I mean, it was terrible. And I got back from that little trip and started thinking about that. I thought, well, I better check tire pressure. And all of the tires from the factory were overinflated by 7 to 9 pounds. I know that doesn't sound like much, but that makes a big difference. You just will be driving in the Flintstone mobile if the tires are overinflated by too much. You just have a very hard ride. I took those back to the recommended 35 psi, and that made quite a big difference. And it doesn't make so much of a difference with the road noise. It makes a difference in the ride. The ride's not as hard, and when you hit the control joints in the road, they're not as loud and noticeable. And that made a big difference, and I've since taken the tire pressure down to about 33 pounds, and that helps a bit. I like to go down to about 32. I'd be good there on tire pressure, but my monitor comes on in the dash, low tire pressure, and I don't like looking at that. I may see if there's a way to reset that tire pressure gauge so it won't come on until you hit a lower pressure. I don't know if that's something somebody with the computer could do or not to reprogram that. But let's look in the back on a couple of things here I've noticed to do with noise. I have one rattle in particular that I hear when I hit a pothole. If you look back here, I'm behind the back seat, and we have a single wall right here, thickness. That's the inside of the cab and the outside in the box, a single layer. That doesn't help with noise. I don't think I hear that. And something else, there are 3 filters back here. In each corner, where the grills are there, and over here, there's a filter. And that filter's open to the wheel wells underneath. And if you look down here, if I can pull this out, you can see that black plastic with a couple tabs on it sticking out there. There are 2 tabs on top. That's the filter. The media is in the center. That filter is about 3 by 4 inch. It kind of has a cotton fiber material. And it would seem that would let some noise come in. And then there's one more down here. And this isn't a filter. It's made so that when you shut the doors and you get some cabin pressure from the door shutting, this pops open. And that's open to outside, underneath. This filter here, this fabric, almost feels like landscaping fabric, really lightweight. And you have 3 noise sources back here, plus a hollow wall, but I don't hear those. Those are maybe issues that might let some road noise in. It's hard for me to imagine they wouldn't let some noise in. But do you see what the problem is here? We have brackets with nothing on them. I'm sure it's for some other optional equipment, but listen to the noise they make. And this is the one I hear because it has a unique tone. When I hit a pothole, I hear that. So I'll just take something and either wrap around there to put some tension on there between the 2 so they don't bounce. I'll figure it out. That's really a simple thing. But if you hear that sound when you hit a bump, that's what it is. And I did want to talk just a bit more about the ride quality in this vehicle. As I mentioned earlier, my first impression was a terrible ride. That has since changed. It's a decent ride. I'm always looking for ways to get a quieter ride when you're going to be traveling. I plan to use this vehicle for some cross-country trips, and the noise level in the cab is really critical to how that trip goes, how much you enjoy driving. And so I'm always looking for ways to quiet it down. So if you have any tips on that, let me know. It's not bad. I have a decibel meter, and at 65 miles an hour on level ground, level interstate, the noise level inside is about 64 to 65. That's not bad. And that EcoBoost engine gives you all the power you'll need. I'm not used to having a vehicle that just goes when you step on it. My 06 pickup has a V6 engine, and I always carry about 800 pounds of tools in the back of that truck. When you step on it, it doesn't go. You better hope there's nothing coming because you cannot get out of the way. This is just the opposite. It maintains speed at 65 on the interstate, and you step on the gas and it just accelerates. It does not downshift, it just goes. So that EcoBoost engine has great power. Really like that. One thing I want to mention, I've seen a lot of other videos that people sometimes get wrong, is this hitch receiver in the back. They say that because you have the 2-inch receiver, you can tow 4,000 pounds. That's not the case. This 2-inch receiver with the 4-pin connector with front-wheel drive on either vehicle is rated for 2,000 pound tow capacity. If you want to tow 4,000 pounds, you need the EcoBoost all-wheel drive and the 4K tow package. That's the only way you get the 4,000 pound towing capacity. Just because you have that hitch does not mean it will tow 4,000 pounds. Great vehicle, I really like it. I'm glad I did this video now versus a week ago. A week ago, my opinion of the ride quality was not so good. But doing the little things like lowering the tire pressure a bit, and I put a couple sandbags in the back. I have 3 sandbags, each sandbag is 70 pounds. So I have 210 pounds in the back to help smooth the ride out a bit, and that has helped too. I think I'll just leave it there and drive it for a while. Hey, thanks for watching.